Tom was tired. The long day had drained every bit of energy from him. He worked as a maintenance technician on Orion's Gate, the largest space station in human history. It was a floating city among the stars, home to thousands of humans and aliens from many different worlds. The station had glowing corridors, endless chambers, and sounds of engines humming through the metal walls. To most people, it was a marvel. To Tom, after 10 hours of work, it was just another place he wanted to leave behind so he could sleep. His shift had been exhausting. A broken power relay to leaking coolant pipes, and a malfunctioning door had kept him running all day. Now, his legs felt heavy as he walked through the quiet corridor. The usual crowd was gone because it was late in the night cycle. Lights above the hallway gave off a soft blue glow. The sound of his boots against the metal floor echoed faintly. Tom wanted nothing more than to reach his quarters, throw himself on the bed, and sleep until the next cycle began. He checked the number on the door ahead. It was not his room yet. He still had a few turns to make. The station was so big that sometimes even workers got lost if they were tired. Tom sighed and kept moving. He passed a section with heavy security panels and warning signs that read restricted area. He knew this part was for high-ranking officers and special guests from other worlds. Tom had no reason to be here, but the corridor leading to his block was under repair, so he had to take a longer route. His mind drifted as he walked. He thought of Earth and the blue sky he had not seen in years. Out here, there was no real sky, only the endless black space and the stars. The stars were beautiful, but they were also cold and silent. Life on the station was busy, yet Tom often felt small in the middle of so much emptiness. He reached a large door at the end of the corridor. It looked like any other maintenance door, and he was too tired to double-check the sign. He just wanted to cut through and find a quicker path. The door opened with a soft hiss as he stepped inside. The first thing he noticed was the air. It was warmer than the hallway. There was a faint sweet smell, almost like flowers mixed with something he could not name. The lights were low, and the walls glowed with soft patterns that shifted like flowing water. For a moment, Tom wondered if he had walked into some kind of alien design chamber. This was not a storage room. He froze. Someone was standing in the center of the room. At first, he thought it was a statue because the figure was so still. But then it turned its head toward him, and Tom saw eyes like nothing he had ever seen before. They shone like to bright stars, golden and alive, full of something that felt like power. It was a woman, or at least she looked like one. Her skin had a smooth silver tone that caught the soft light and made it shimmer. Her hair was long and black, flowing down like a river of night. She wore a robe of deep blue, marked with patterns that seemed to move when he looked closely. Tom felt his throat go dry. He knew who this was. Every worker on Orion's Gate had seen her image during the briefing a week ago. She was not just a guest. She was the queen of the Virian Dominion, a species known across the stars for their strength, wealth, and the vast empire they ruled. The Virian were feared by many, respected by all, and she was standing right in front of him, looking at him with calm eyes that felt like they could read his soul. Tom realized what he had done. He had walked into the wrong room. The chamber was a private diplomatic suite, meant for one of the most important leaders in the galaxy. His heart pounded hard in his chest. His mind screamed at him to leave, to run, but his legs would not move. The queen tilted her head slightly, as if studying him. Her lips curved into the smallest smile. It was not an unfriendly smile, but it made him feel even more nervous. Tom swallowed hard and finally managed to speak. His voice came out shaky. "You are in the wrong room," he said. The words sounded foolish the moment they left his mouth. She was not the one who had made a mistake. He was. But he could not think of anything else to say. The queen's smile grew a little wider, and then she spoke. Her voice was soft, calm, and carried a tone that seemed both gentle and commanding. At the same time, I know, the simple words, yet they sent a chill down his spine. She had not asked who he was or why he was here. She had not called the guards. She had just said those words, as if this moment was something she had expected. Tom felt his mouth go dry. He wanted to explain, to say sorry, to tell her he had no idea this was her chamber. But his voice would not come. His thoughts ran wild. Why had she not ordered him out? Why was she smiling at him? The queen began to move toward him. Her steps were slow and graceful, like a dancer gliding across a stage. Her eyes never left his face. Each step seemed to fill the room with a strange energy that made the air feel heavy. Tom's hands curled into fists at his sides, not out of anger, but to stop them from shaking. He had never felt so small in his life. He was a simple worker, a man who fixed wires and pipes, standing in front of a being who could start or stop wars with a single command. When she stopped just a few feet away from him, Tom could see the details of her face. It was calm, beautiful, and yet there was something beyond beauty in it, something sharp and endless. Like the deep void of space. She spoke again, her voice smooth as flowing water. "You are human," she said, not as a question, but as a statement. Tom nodded quickly, his throat too tight for words. "I have wanted to meet one," she said softly, up close. Tom's heart pounded even harder. He had no idea what was happening, but he knew one thing for sure. This was no ordinary mistake. This was the beginning of something he could not yet understand. Tom could not move. The queen's words hung in the air like a thread that pulled him closer to something unknown. She stood only a few steps away from him now. The glow from the walls touched her silver skin, making it shine like metal and moonlight. At the same time, her eyes, bright and sharp, never left his face. He felt small and unprepared. This was not how his night was supposed to go. He had planned to return to his quarters, eat something simple, and sleep. Now he was standing in front of one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy, a queen who ruled an empire that stretched across hundreds of star systems. Tom tried to find his voice. "I am sorry," he said, his tone low and tense. "I did not mean to come here. I walked into the wrong room." The queen smiled again. It was the same slow smile as before, but this time it seemed warmer, almost curious. She tilted her head slightly as if his apology amused her. "You are honest," she said. "Many beings would lie to protect themselves. You do not." Tom swallowed hard. He had no idea what to say. His thoughts were a storm. Was she testing him? Did she see humans as weak creatures that could not hide fear? Or did she see something else? He forced his legs to take a step back, but the door behind him stayed closed. He had not heard it lock, but he knew it would not open easily. This was a private chamber of a queen. No one could leave without her command. The queen began to walk slowly, moving around him as if studying every detail of his presence. Her steps made no sound. Her robe flowed like water behind her. "You are not like the others," she said. Tom frowned, confused. "The others? The ones I have met before," she replied. "The officers, the diplomats, they speak to me with fear in their hearts and power on their tongues. They hide behind rules and words. But you walked in here without a mask." Tom gave a short, nervous laugh. "I walked in here by mistake," he said. "If I had known, I would never come." The queen stopped in front of him again and looked into his eyes. For a moment, the weight of her gaze felt like a force pressing on his chest. "That is why it matters," she said softly. Tom felt his pulse racing. He did not understand her words fully, but something in her tone told him this meeting was not an accident in her mind. She seemed calm, almost pleased that he was here. He took a slow breath. "If you want me to leave, I will," he said carefully. The queen smiled once more, and this time her smile carried a strange power, as if it could bend the air around them. "Do you want to leave?" she asked. Tom opened his mouth, then closed it. He had no answer. His body wanted to leave, to escape the strange and dangerous moment. But his mind felt something else. A question had taken root inside him. Why was she speaking to him like this? Why was she not calling the guards? "You are silent," she said. "Perhaps because you know something important." Tom shook his head quickly. "I do not know anything," he said. "I am just a technician. I fix things. That is all." The queen's eyes shone brighter for a moment, and then she turned away and began to walk toward a low platform at the center of the room. She sat down with the grace of someone who had ruled for years, and then she looked at him again. "Tell me," she said, "why do humans travel so far from their home? Your bodies are weak compared to many species. You live for a short time, and yet you cross the stars." Tom hesitated. No one had ever asked him this question before. He was not a diplomat. He was not trained to speak for all of humanity. But now the queen of an empire was asking him, and his answer mattered. He cleared his throat and spoke slowly. "Because we want to learn," he said. "Because we want to survive. We know the universe is bigger than us, but that does not stop us. It makes us want to see more. We build ships, we take risks, we work together. We do not stop." The queen listened without interrupting. Her face was calm, but her eyes watched every word he spoke. When he finished, she said, "You speak of hope. That is rare among rulers I have known." Tom shook his head. "I am not a ruler," he said. "I am no one important." The queen's voice grew softer. "Perhaps that is why your words are honest." Tom felt heat rising in his face. He could not tell if it was fear or something else. This conversation was unlike anything he had ever experienced. He wondered what she wanted from him. "Do you believe humans can survive among the stars?" she asked. Tom nodded slowly. "Yes," he said. "It will be hard, but we will keep trying. We always keep trying." The queen studied him for a long moment. Then she spoke words that made his heart beat even faster. "Your species interests me more than all the empires I have seen." Tom stared at her, unable to reply. He did not know if this was praise or a warning. All he knew was that something had changed. This was no longer a simple mistake. This was something that could shape the future. He felt the air grow still around them. The patterns on the walls shifted, glowing brighter, as if the room itself responded to her mood. The queen leaned back slightly and kept her eyes on him. Her smile returned, calm and sure. In that moment, Tom understood something. The queen did not see him as a mistake. She saw him as a choice. And choices like this could decide the fate of worlds. The room was quiet except for the low hum of the station's systems. Tom stood near the door, still unsure if he was allowed to leave. The queen sat on the raised platform like a figure carved from silver light. Her calm eyes stayed on him, making him feel like every thought in his head was being read. Tom cleared his throat. "If I am in the way, I can go," he said. His voice was steady, but inside he felt the weight of her presence pressing against his nerves. The queen did not answer right away. She studied him as if his words were a puzzle. Finally, she spoke. "If you were in the way, you would not still be breathing," she said. Her tone was not harsh, yet it carried a truth that made his heart beat faster. Tom forced himself to stay calm. "Then why am I here?" he asked. The queen's golden eyes seemed to glow brighter. "Because I want you to be here," she said. "Because I have questions only you can answer." Tom frowned. "Questions? About what?" The queen rose from the platform and walked toward him, her steps soft and measured. "About your kind," she said. "About the species that calls itself human." Tom felt his chest tighten. He was just a technician. What could he say that would matter to someone like her? "I am not the right person for that," he said. "There are diplomats here. They can answer better than me." The queen stopped just a few feet away from him. Her voice dropped lower, and it sounded almost like a whisper, though it was clear and strong. "I do not want their answers," she said. "They give words prepared by others. You give words that are real." Tom tried to look away, but her eyes held him like chains made of light. He swallowed hard. "What do you want to know?" he asked slowly. The queen studied his face for a moment before she spoke. "Why do you keep moving forward when you are weak?" she asked. "Your bodies break. Your lives end quickly, yet you climb out of your small world and spread across the dark. Why?" Tom took a slow breath. He thought about her question carefully. "Because we cannot stay still," he said at last. "Because we want to see what is out there. We are not the strongest, but we are stubborn. We keep going because we want to know more." The queen tilted her head slightly. Is that all? Curiosity? Tom shook his head. Not just curiosity. Survival too. We know nothing lasts forever. We know our home could die one day. So we try to find a future before that happens. Her eyes watched him with deep interest. You speak as if your kind is fragile yet unbroken, she said. That is rare. Tom gave a small nod. We break, but we fix ourselves, he said. That is what we do. The queen's expression changed slightly. Her smile returned, calm but sharp, like a blade hidden in silk. Some would call that strength, she said. Tom did not reply. He felt the tension in the air grow heavier. This was not just a simple exchange of words. It felt like a test. Though he did not know what he was being tested for, the queen stepped closer, and Tom fought the urge to move back. Her presence was overwhelming, but not because of her size. It was something else. Something in her eyes that felt like the pull of gravity. She spoke again, her tone softer now. Do you believe humans can stand among the great powers of the stars? Tom thought for a moment. Not yet, he said honestly. But one day, yes, we will get there. Her gaze sharpened. And if others try to stop you? Tom's hands tightened at his sides. We will keep trying, he said, even if it takes 1,000 years. The queen stared at him for a long moment, then gave a slow nod. You speak like a soldier, she said. Tom shook his head quickly. I am not a soldier, he said. I fix pipes and wires. That is all. Her smile widened slightly. That is what makes it interesting, she said. Tom felt his throat tighten. Why? He asked. Because you are honest, she said. And honesty is hard to find among those who wear titles. He stood silent, unsure what to say. His heart was still racing. Every word she spoke felt like it carried weight far beyond this room. Then the queen turned away from him and walked back to the platform. She sat down gracefully, her robe spreading like dark water around her. Her voice was calm when she spoke. Again, my council says your species is dangerous, she said. They say humans cannot be trusted. They say you will spread like fire and burn everything you touch. Tom felt his chest tighten. That is not true, he said quickly. We are not like that. The queen's eyes locked on him again. You believe that, she said. But belief is not proof. Some think the only way to be safe is to end your rise before it begins. Tom's breath caught in his throat. You mean war, he said. The queen did not nod, but her silence was enough. He felt cold fear slide down his spine. War with the Varian Dominion would destroy everything. Humanity had ships, yes, but nothing compared to an empire that ruled half the galaxy. Tom forced himself to speak. If you believe that too, then why are you talking to me? Her answer was slow, measured, and filled with a strange depth. Because I am not sure they are right, she said. Because I have seen your kind fight storms and climb mountains not for power, but for hope. And I wonder if there is something in you that the stars have not seen before. Tom felt his chest rise and fall with sharp breaths. He understood now. This was not just a meeting. This was a judgment. One word from her could decide if his species lived or died. The queen leaned forward slightly. Her golden eyes burned brighter than before. You are here because I want to know, she said. Are humans worth saving? The question struck him like a force. He had no time to think of the weight behind it. He could only speak the truth in his heart, yes. Tom said. His voice was firm now, stronger than before. We are worth saving. For a moment, the room felt like it held its breath. Then, the queen smiled again, slow and deep, like the first light breaking through darkness. And Tom knew this conversation was far from over. Tom stood frozen as the queen's words echoed in his mind. Are humans worth saving? That single question carried the weight of entire worlds. His answer had come from the deepest part of him. But would it be enough? The queen sat still on the platform, her golden eyes fixed on him like twin suns. For a long time, she said nothing, and the silence was heavier than any sound. Tom felt the thud of his own heartbeat in his chest as he waited for her next words. Finally, the queen spoke. You speak with faith, she said softly. But faith Alone does not stop the blades of those who fear you. Tom swallowed hard. He understood what she meant. There were voices among her people who saw humans as a threat. Voices calling for war before humans could grow stronger. The thought of it made his stomach turn cold. What do you believe? Tom asked carefully. Do you think we are a danger to you? The queen rose from the platform and began to walk toward a wall that shimmered with faint patterns of light. She placed her hand against it, and the surface changed, revealing a view of stars and planets scattered across the darkness of space. I have ruled longer than any living voice in my empire, she said. I have seen empires rise and fall. Most fall not because of strength, but because of fear. Tom stepped closer, his eyes drawn to the endless stars beyond the wall. Fear of what? He asked. Fear of what they do not control, the queen replied. Her voice was calm, yet it held an edge that made Tom's skin prickle. Fear of change, fear of a species that does not know its limits. Tom understood what she meant. Humans did not stay in one place. They built, they traveled. They reached for more even when it seemed impossible. And that made the great powers nervous. The queen turned to face him again. I believe fear blinds my counsel, she said. But I cannot ignore them forever. If they decide you are too dangerous, I will have to act. Tom's chest tightened. Act how? He asked, though he already knew. Her golden eyes held his. You know the answer, she said quietly. He did. It meant war. It meant destruction on a scale humanity could not survive. Tom felt the air grow heavy around him. He had never thought his life would carry such weight, but now his words and actions could decide the fate of billions. The queen stepped closer, her voice low but firm. I need to know something, she said. If your kind rises among the stars, will you bring peace or fire? Tom took a deep breath. His mind raced, but his voice was steady when he spoke. We will bring both, he said honestly, because we are not perfect. We fight, we make mistakes, but we also heal. We help, we build. That is who we are. The queen's expression did not change, but her eyes seemed to study him even deeper, as if looking past his skin and bones into the truth of his soul. And if someone strikes at you first, she asked. Tom hesitated for a second, then answered, we fight back, he said, but not because we want to rule, because we want to live. Her gaze lingered on him for a long moment, and then she turned away, walking back to the platform. Your words are simple, she said, but they are not empty. Tom let out a slow breath he did not know he was holding. He felt like he had passed through something sharp and dangerous, yet he knew this was not the end. The queen was thinking, weighing his words like gold on a scale. Then, suddenly, the door behind him slid open. Tom turned quickly to see the tall guards enter the room. Their armor gleamed like polished stone, and the long spears in their hands pulsed with blue energy. Tom's heart jumped. Were they here for him? The queen lifted her hand slightly, and the guards stopped a few steps inside. Leave us, she said, her voice calm but carrying authority that filled the room. The guards bowed their heads and stepped back out without a sound. The door closed again, sealing Tom inside with the queen once more. Tom stared at her, confused. Why did you send them away? He asked. The queen's eyes held his, and there was something in them he could not read. Because this conversation is not for their ears, she said. Tom felt a chill run through him. Why? He asked quietly. The queen walked closer to him, stopping just a few feet away. Her voice dropped lower, almost like a secret carried on the air. Because I'm about to give you a choice, she said. Tom blinked in surprise. A choice? Yes, she said. One that could save your species, or end it. Tom's stomach tightened. What kind of choice? The queen looked into his eyes, and for the first time, her calm expression showed a flicker of something else, something almost like hope. I can speak for your people, she said. I can stop my council from moving against you. But if I do this, you must give me a reason stronger than fear or politics. You must give me something that proves humans deserve that chance. Tom felt his pulse pounding in his ears. What can I give you? He asked. The queen's voice was soft. Yet every word struck deep. Not a thing, she said. A truth. Something that will tell me who you really are. Not as a species, but as a man. Tom stood silent, his mind racing. What truth could change her mind? What truth could decide the fate of billions? The Queen's golden eyes stayed on him as she spoke the last words of the night. Tomorrow, she said, you will answer me, and your answer will decide everything. Tom felt the weight of the stars on his shoulders as he nodded slowly. He had one night to find the truth that could save humanity. The chamber's door closed behind Tom with a soft hiss. He was alone now, left to think about the Queen's words. Tomorrow, he would have to give her an answer. One answer that could change the fate of all humanity. Tom paced slowly across the room. The light from the stars outside the station painted soft patterns on the floor. But inside him, a storm was growing. What truth could he share? What part of himself could prove humans deserved a chance? He sat down on a bench near the window. The view of the galaxy was beautiful and endless, but it felt cold and distant. Tom felt small in comparison. What could one person do when empires decided the future? He thought about his life on Earth, his family, his friends, the simple moments of laughter and kindness. Could those moments mean anything to a queen who ruled millions? Tom's mind drifted to his father's words. Humans are more than their mistakes. His father had said once, we fight, yes, but we also build. We care for one another even when the world is harsh. Tom closed his eyes. Maybe that was the truth he needed to share, the hope hidden in the small things. The door slid open softly, and the Queen entered the room. Her presence filled the space like a gentle storm. She did not speak, only looked at Tom with her steady golden eyes. Do you sleep, human? She asked softly. Tom shook his head. Not much, he said. There's too much to think about. The Queen nodded. I understand. The weight of decisions is not light. Tom stood, unsure of what to say next. The Queen's calm was different from the cold rulers he had heard about. She seemed to carry a burden as well. Tell me, she said. What is the greatest hope of your kind? Tom paused. He searched his heart for an answer that would satisfy her. Our greatest hope, he said slowly, is that we can live together, that we can learn from others even when it is hard. We want peace, but we know it must be earned every day. The Queen's eyes softened just a little. Peace is a fragile thing, she said. One that many fear will break. Tom nodded. Yes, but it is worth trying for. Because without hope, we lose everything. They stood in silence for a moment, the quiet filled with the hum of the station. Tomorrow, the Queen said, you will give me your truth. I will listen, and then I will decide. Tom looked into her eyes, seeing the truth in them. This was not just about politics or power. It was about understanding. I will be ready, he said. The Queen turned and left the room, her footsteps soft but sure. Tom watched her go, feeling the weight of what was to come. As the door closed, Tom sat down again and looked out at the stars. He knew that whatever happened tomorrow, his life and the lives of all humans would never be the same. The morning light filtered softly through the high windows of the grand chamber. Outside, the station buzzed with quiet energy. Today was the day Tom would face the Queen again. Today, he would give the answer that could change the future of humanity. Tom stood before the great doors, his heart steady but full of quiet tension. He had thought about his answer all night. He knew it had to come from his heart, not from fear or hope alone. The doors opened slowly, and the Queen appeared. Her golden eyes looked calm, but there was power in her presence that made the room feel alive. Tom stepped inside and bowed slightly. I'm ready, he said. The Queen nodded. Then speak your truth. Tom took a deep breath and began. I'm only one person, he said. I am not a leader or a hero, but I carry the story of my people. We are not perfect. We have made mistakes and caused pain, but we have also learned and grown. He looked into the Queen's eyes, steady and sure. Humans fight because they must, but they also help because they care. We build bridges, not just walls. We reach for the stars because we want to understand, not to conquer. The Queen listened quietly, her expression unreadable. Tom continued, "Our greatest strength is our hope. The hope that tomorrow can be better than today. The hope that peace is possible, even if it is hard. This hope drives us forward." He paused for a moment, then said, "If you judge us only by our mistakes, you will be right to fear us. But if you judge us by our hope, then you will see that humans are worth saving." The chamber was silent. The Queen's eyes held his for a long moment, then she smiled softly. "You speak with honesty and courage," she said. "That is rare." Tom felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He had spoken his truth, not just for himself, but for all humanity. The Queen stood and approached him. "I will speak to my council. I will tell them what I have heard. Your fate is not decided by fear today." Tom nodded, his heart filled with cautious hope. "Remember," the Queen said, "hope alone does not shape the future. It is action that creates change." Tom bowed again. "Thank you," as he left the chamber. He knew the road ahead would still be hard, but for the first time, he believed that humans had a chance to stand among the stars not just as survivors, but as builders of a better future. The great hall was filled with voices. The Council of the Varying Dominion gathered around the glowing table, their faces serious and sharp. The Queen stood at the head, her golden eyes calm but bright. She spoke clearly, and her words echoed in the room. "I have listened to the human," she said. "He spoke of hope and truth. He told us that humans are not perfect, but they have the strength to grow." The council members exchanged looks. Many were not convinced. They feared the humans' rise. They feared the unknown. One elder spoke loudly, "Your Majesty, they have moved too fast. Their ships reach into our space. Their technology grows. We cannot risk our empire to a species that fights without mercy." The Queen raised her hand. "I did not ask you to trust blindly," she said, "but I ask you to see beyond fear. The human showed me something important, hope that shines even in the darkest places." Another council member frowned. What if their hope is a mask? What if they use it to hide their true power? The Queen looked each member in the eye. "Then we will face that truth when it comes. But today, we choose to give them a chance." The room was quiet. Slowly, the voices stopped. The Queen's decision was clear. Outside, the station's stars shone brighter. The humans' fleet waited, unsure of their fate. Tom stood among them, his heart full of both hope and worry. Suddenly, a message came through. The Queen's voice spoke on all channels, calm and clear. To the humans, she said, "We offer peace. We will not strike first. We will watch and wait, but we will judge by actions, not fears." Cheers rose among the humans. Tom smiled, feeling the weight of his journey lift. The Queen's message was more than a promise. It was a new beginning. In the days that followed, ambassadors from both sides met. They shared stories and dreams. They built bridges where once there were walls. Tom watched as humans and Varying worked together. Old fears slowly faded. New friendships began. One evening, as the stars turned silver, Tom stood on the station's balcony. The Queen joined him, her presence calm and steady. "You did well," she said quietly. Tom looked at her. "So did you?" She smiled. "The stars are wide and full of mystery. Perhaps together we can learn more." Tom nodded. Together. The new dawn had come, a dawn where hope was stronger than fear, and the future was a path built by many hands.